Okay. I shall upload and create a new assignment, and all the people who are in the batch will get it. And this assignment is called Bank GoodCredit project assignment. The reference number of the project is 0015, and I shall put the due date would be 15 days from now, plus or minus. I would say we shall give a target of September 15. I think that's okay. Good. And I'm going to attach few files. I'll just upload files. Okay. Should I do it differently? Okay. Let me. I should have done it before this session, and I'm running crazily busy, so just bear with me. Not this one, this one. Okay. And this is a bit tricky project. I actually wanted to give one of my clients project, which is an European bank, but unfortunately, I didn't get the permission. But this is also very near to that, and this is also a real project, and this has been given to one of the student of ours in a banking interview. I don't know which bank, but it's one of the banks, international banks, based on have an office based in Bangalore. So this is a real client project, and it's for an Indian bank, and it is given as an assignment to one of the students. So really worth it, and I did looked into it, and it's really good and challenging. It covers most of the aspects which you would like to learn from a credit analysis perspective. Okay, so I'm adding these two files, and after this session I will also add the video to it. So let me explain the project. Okay, it's assigning. All right, so this is your business case. This project, your work is to predict a customer credit ranking, or we call it as credit score, the credit score of a customer. The credit score calculation needs to be done from standard Indian credit scoring system called CIBIL. So I would be attaching CIBIL guide as well, which I think I already did. So I'm stopping the video of one of the participants, Pritu. All right. Okay. Okay, Kishore, thank you. Messaged our group. Few more will be popping up. Few victims of traffic. I'm always a victim of traffic. Default victim. All right. And I also attached the CIBIL, which is Consumer Credit Information System, which is what we follow in India for most of our credit scoring. So there is a bunch of information on CIBIL in terms of which segment, how the score should be calculated, how based on the payment and inquiry records and all the stuff. So you really have to go through this 80 pages of CIBIL document. Don't really go into everything in it. Just go to the things which you need, because when you do a banking project, a knowledge of CIBIL, which is Consumer Credit Scoring System, is really important. So a knowledge of Sibyl guide is mandatory. Sibyl guide is not what I have created. It's for the public reference, and I attached in the assignment itself for a quick reference. So you need to go to the Sibyl score as one of the requirement of this project. So based on that, I already given a criteria anyway. The bad label is based on a 3 DPD plus bucket. So you can refer the Sibyl guide for more explanation on that. All right. There is already some information about benchmarking as what has been already done and some future rankings. Okay. So which I leave it for you to explore it. I have 3 data tables given to you. I have played with to make it a little simple. And I have called them as 3 tables. One is accounts data. And the accounts data table has, information about the date an account being opened. And these are all the information of the current customers. So we are calculating credit score of already existing customer so that to understand whether the interest rates can be changed. If the customer is more risky customer or the credit score is not good, he will come under a different interest bracket. If the customer has a very good credit score as per the Sibyl scoring system, then you would be probably getting or giving lesser interest for the credit he is currently having, the current credit office. All right. So the customer table has account, the date open, the customer number, which is supposed to be unique, upload date, account type. You also have owner indication, open date, lost payment date, close date, reporting date, high credit amount, current balance amount past due, payment history 1, 2, payment string date, it's in a string format, payment end date, credit limit. So what is the limit for this customer? Cash limit, rate of interest, which is the current rate of interest. Maybe after you calculate the credit score, this is what you would like to change. So because the rate of interest of any credit is directly related to the credibility of the customer or the risk associated with the customer. So if he's a risky customer, then you might have slightly higher interest rate. If his Sibyl score is very nice, we can afford him the credit with lower interest rate. An actual payment amount. So I leave it for you to figure it out. This is one of the assignment is like you have to figure out things by yourself. This is the data I have. And I also have a table of inquiry. When you inquire about a particular amount, the date open, the customer number, upload date, inquiry date, and inquiry purpose, and inquiry amount. And these are the number of records I have. For rest, I didn't include, but you can find it out from simply loading the data by yourself. All right, and let me just make this as a single line. Continuous scrolling. I think that's better. Yeah, this is better. So 3 tables. One table contains all customer data, which is this. All right. And one table contains some inquiry information. And the main table, which is very important for most of the purposes for our machine learning calculation, is demographics. And it also has date open customer number so that we can link it to the other tables. So we need to actually merge 2 different tables to have one data set for your machine learning. That's one of the challenges you need to do. So you have to play with pandas, concatenation, and also matching with some for loops. I leave it to you. So that is some challenge. You have to make it in one row. And this demographics basically means the customer details, all the future names, including the location, the age, the phone number, lots of information. We have close to 79 demographic futures, including the city and all the stuff, right? We have, obviously we have NCAPs, obscured the data headers. But, if you look at the data itself, you can figure it out. But the point is, you may not need what is actually a header means, because you finally gonna label and code and look at the correlation metrics and stuff to decide. So, and the phone numbers and emails and stuff like that are being obscured with some X for the privacy reasons. And this is where you have that label, bad label. All right. So bad label is already given for most of the people. And you also have CIBIL score to understand if that is correct. And if you want to do something else, it's up to you, right, based on the CIBIL score. And the project goal, as I mentioned before, where is my project goal? Is to actually 3 questions mainly. One is to explore the data insight and look at what did you find and what decisions did you take based on that. That is EDA, exploratory data analysis. Okay. Second is a future matrix, the list of the futures selected with a gain. So which are the futures you think make sense for your credit score prediction model? And last is your model evaluation, Gini and order ranking. So that you can do it. It is straightforward machine learning model evaluation. As usual, the server remains the same. I guess this is the server number. I'm not sure. If not, I think it's changed. But I'll just upload the changed one, the server name. But it will be the same server. And the database you're looking at is bank_GoodCredit. Username, password remains same. And the data is quite comprehensive. You have more than 1 lakh or even more data. So you have lots of data to play with. And this data also has a hell of missing values, because if you look at the demographics, you may not get all the 79 futures from all the customers. So there are lots of missing values. And this data itself tests your limits on data processing or data preparation, because it's quite a large and a challenging data set. I don't recommend you to drop any data, rather use some data mugging techniques to fill it up for you if necessary. And that's after you select the futures. And the futures can be selected by even dropping all the missing value fields and by looking at the correlation. My apologies, I am not giving any suggestions. This is more like a client assignment. This is it. So we have a lot of customer data and inquiry data on the demographics of the customer itself. We would like to calculate a credit risk or the risk credit profile of individual customers, so that we can reduce the default credit default risk. Okay, help in the bank reducing the credit default risk. So it can be also used to persuade customers for taking more credit. That is something which is not included in this document. Maybe I shall include it, but I would like the bank to suggest that, well, if you have a very good customer with a very good credit score, why don't you persuade him to take more money with lesser interest, because you know that he's going to pay back. He has a very good credit score. So if you decrease the interest rate, maybe this customer is more interested to take more money, which is more business for bank. At the similar lines, we could actually penalize the customer who has low credit score, or discourage, penalize him with a higher interest, so that the bank does not go into more risky zone, right? So this is something which I expect you to actually come up with as a conclusions, because that is more business for banks. Again, as I said, do not restrict yourself to the questions being asked. You could go a bit more and come up with all kinds of idea. And you could also Google machine learning for banks and businesses and see if anything more interesting for you, which can be also applied for this particular data. So that is all the project for this next 2 weeks. All right. And my colleague is actually uploading the data to the server. I think he's already done. Let me check with him one more time. But you could connect to the same database you connected for the previous project, the same MySQL database, actually the server, and you will find a database called bank_GoodCredit. And you can download the data in the similar manner you have downloaded for ITSA project and start working on it. Any questions? Yeah, I have a question. Sir, I have a question. Yes. Is there any guidelines from the bank on a low end cutoff to offer a new products? Like usually bank scores of less than 300, which is no-go. I was not really sure. All right. So a low cutoff to offer a new product. I'm not very aware of Indian banking scores. If you are aware, you can include in your report. So obviously, well, if you have a better score, we would cross-sell, upsell new products because you're a credible customer. I'm not aware of the Indian banking scoring. I haven't read my CIBIL myself. Sorry. I mean, can we set our guideline of yes or no? And do we have to allow a guideline in the project? Do you have to allow? Can we set our guideline of yes or no? Okay. Yeah, I mean, yes, of course. You can obviously recommend the bank with a new field saying, yeah, you have a new field saying, can we upsell, cross sell new products to this customer? Yes or no? And that will be very valuable. If I'm a bank, I would really, I will be very interested in it. That's a good thinking. That's good business thinking. Thank you. Anyone have any questions? All right. Unlike the previous project where I could not spend another session before you submit the project, for this session, I could schedule another meeting after you looked into things, have a lot of questions. I would schedule another, in a couple of days or maybe 4 or 5 days down the line, schedule another quick session of 30 minutes to provide you or answer more questions. All right. In the meantime, I will take a look at myself about the CIBIL guide because I didn't do it. And I think it's really valuable for me as well because most of the Indian banks rely on the CIBIL for their business. So that's how the credit score is being calculated. So a knowledge of CIBIL is more generic and very helpful in whatever discussions you have with banks in India. Any further questions? I see more people joining. That's good. All right, so this is quite comprehensive project and it's lots of data to play with. And I'm pretty sure that, okay, Ashok, I have a problem or issue more than a question. I will talk to you about it after recording is over. If you are in, okay, is it more than a question? Who is this anonymous? Yes, no problem. Can I know who is this? If it's a short question, you can ask here. Okay. All right, no problem. If you have, okay, I will talk to you regarding it after the session stops. Yeah, I can divulge information. Keep it anonymous because of the privacy reasons. Okay, no problem. All right, no problem. So please call me and we can discuss about it. No problem. Sure. And any other questions? My number is always available. This is so that's the number. All right. No questions as of now. Thank you. And any questions in 3 days down the line, we should be able to connect and have more discussion on that. Thank you all. Good night. Have a good day. Bye-bye.